Greetings, viewers. Thanks for joining me today for the getting down to the nitty-gritty on the old shop truck here. LSX Innovations has still not responded to my email of why I ordered that plate 5 days ago, and it still hasn't shipped yet. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. I have my list revised. Now, if we went over this, I needed a new radiator cap. PO means part ordered. O2 sensor, part ordered. These are things I had to have that I couldn't just produce in the shop here. I could have got a radiator cap from the junkyard, but it's $7. Get a new one. The return fuel filter from a C5 Corvette. Got that ordered. We're going to put in the battery tray today. We're going to mount the computer. We're going to mount the go pedal. We're going to hook up the shifter linkage. Exhaust. Parts ordered. I had to go to Summit to order my links of pipe for the driver's side. I'll go to the parts store and get my muffler because they're cheaper. Okay. Leaving wiring out of the situation for right now, but all these things need to happen first. This is going to take several days of videoing, but that's the way it goes. So battery, part ordered. Now, doing this on the cheap. Right now I'm $856 in. I still have to get oil change stuff and an air filter. My evap plate costs $16. I still haven't gotten it yet from LSX Innovations, who isn't answering my email and hasn't shipped my part in 5 days, even though it says fast shipping. But I'm not going to talk about that. I had to pay $68 for an O2 sensor, $14 for the C5 Corvette fuel filter. Incidentally, my pipes also cost $68 delivered 1 day from Summit. They'll be here tomorrow. Battery, $212 frickin' dollars. Are you kidding me? I haven't bought a battery in years. Wow. I included antifreeze, 26 bucks. That's $411. The muffler they have there at the auto parts store is $56. It's a Flowmaster 40 series that matches mine, only it's a generic brand. And I'm going to put it on. You can only hear one side at a time, right? Maybe. That's $467. Now, I got a big minus 340 in here. That the 5.7 and the 700 R4, I sold that for $340. So that came out of this truck. That takes me down to $127 on these parts. I forgot to add the rear seal, which is $29, which would equal $156. You add that to the $700 initial investment, and right now I'm $856 into this truck. We're going to get a lot of stuff done today for cheap or free. Well, for free, because all this stuff's coming. And yeah, so far that's not bad. I'm hoping to get out of all this for less than $1,000, and right now I'm not even at $900. So I do, like I said, have to get an air filter, oil change. I may have to get a cold air intake, so I'm not sure if all that'll clear my hood or not. But yeah, we'll figure all that out. All right, thanks for listening to all that. There's the list. I said I'd go over everything I was spending, or I meant to say that if I didn't. So there you are. Let's get busy fabbing up some shifter linkage. Let's scratch battery tray off. We'll put a question mark next to computer location. Still haven't heard from, well, you know, about that evap block off plate. Now, I might have to go to the junkyard and get one of these things that grabbed the, you know, it was like a C shape, and this slid into it. The other one's got a flat plate for a cable, but I want to use this. I don't think I want to weld it to the movie part, but either way, it's going to have to be cut and bent because park was the other way, I think. Anyway, we'll solve that for sure. I think I mentioned that last time. I'm not sure if it has to go the other direction. We'll address that when I get under there. I'm gonna, yeah, probably go in, have a look at that exhaust. I'll take you in there if I can, but most of this stuff, you guys skip through the work part anyway and go to the result, which, unless it's super complicated, that works for me too. Now this pedal comes down here and that looks great. This is all wrong for my truck. If I bolt this bottom bolt in the same place the bottom bolt for the existing throttle was, that pedal hits the ground. So if I cut it here and here and then weld this to this, I should have the throttle pedal I need, and I have this way adjustment, yeah, where I can put it flat or bring it out with a spacer behind it. I'll show you that when it's install time, but right now, cut and cut, resume the music. All right, yeah, this is still pretty hot, so I'll try to show it to you, but there it is. I welded it together. When it's fastened to the floorboard, it'll be down at an angle that I think is the same as the transmission tunnel. So kind of look like that. So that's what I did. I just cut it and welded it, and I'm gonna go put it in when it cools off, and we'll move to the next thing. Oh yeah, and stuff something in your plug there so you don't get welding spatter in your plug for your drive-by wire. Just be one more damn thing you don't need. Now, this is probably going to have to bolt in against the wall and with a spacer back here, but I got that, so no worries there. Yeah, hang on. Okay, so here we are with the throttle pedal. Now, that looks like it's up way too high, but the way it wasn't going to work. When I get my big ass in here and go to drive, that looks like it'll probably work. Even some big toe action, because I drive barefoot a lot. But there it is, bolted in. It will go wide open throttle. That's, yeah, already cut and welded and bolted up. And that is bolted in the same bottom bolt mount. I'm going to have to put another fastener in, but you can see right now it's working. So yeah, all right. No money spent. That's my favorite. Okay, so here we are under the truck. Don't look at that pipe. Okay, this plugs into the frame here like it did originally. This is the linkage rod. When you pull from park down to low, it moves that direction. Okay, so I can't reach it, Oswald, sorry. Now, this pipe, oh, gotta throw the ball for the dog 5,000 times. All right, now this needs to go, that's park, that'd be reverse. So it needs to go that way. That goes that way. We glue this on here, move that shifter forward, glue this on, I mean weld. All right. Move the shifter forward. It's going to turn the rod the way it needs to go. Now, I need to make a little rod here that has a C shape, or go to the junkyard and see if they have one from 700 R4. You should keep the one from your 700 R4, another piece of the fucking idiot tax I've paid, which has been expensive on this job. Now go ahead and point out the frickin' zombie pipe over here, because I'm an retard and I cut it 3 times wrong and finally made it fit. So can I use my stock linkage? You betcha. So you got that. That takes shift linkage off the list, but it doesn't because I'm not done with it. I might make that now. I might go to the junkyard. We don't know yet. So hang on from there, but you see how I am using the stock shifter linkage to make my 4L60E shift. Yeah, buddy. All right, viewers, back again, and I got my battery in the tray. Barely fits, but it does fit and feels secure, and I'll have to come up with a tie down for that. Second most expensive thing I've bought for this whole swap is a frickin' battery. Hopefully you don't have to buy one. I added a few things to my list, so I've bumped the price up about another 40 bucks. I got some fuel treatment. I decided to go with turn downs on my exhaust, my other turn down, my muffler and my pipes will be here tomorrow, hopefully in the morning. Got my antifreeze, got my oil change, air filter. Here's that Corvette C5 fuel filter. This is the one, and don't forget to ground it, but that's the one you need. And it comes with your little push fetty clip if you got that, like you're supposed to, or we're gonna see how I end up doing it. It's gonna be a little bit different. Oh, there's another pushy clip in there too. All right, good deal. So got the Bosch. I could have saved a little on the O2 sensor, but Airplace had to order it. Yeah, I'm trying to wrap this up. So got a few extra things. Price went up a little bit. I'm gonna wrap it all up in there, but instead of $849 now, we're just gonna call it $900. It wasn't quite another $50 worth of stuff, but close enough. And I did get paper towels, and I'm not counting things like, brake parts cleaner and shit like that, all right? I probably should. Let's see, I'm trying to include every penny of everything, though. LSX Innovations still hasn't shipped my part or answered any of my 3 emails. So I ordered another one of those from someplace else, and guess what? It's already on its way here. So I don't know what happened there, and I don't care at this point. Gonna wrap up some more of the harness. Yeah, this video is just gonna keep on going, so hang on, sit tight, and I'll be right back. On this air box here, I'm getting ready to put it in. Cleaned this tray up. It had a lot of crap on it. This used to be a solid duct that brought cold air in from the below or behind the turn signals up and into the fender where it came out over here. Well, I don't want the air to go all to there now, so I cut that box open. It's super easy. Just use a knife blade. And now hopefully what air I get coming in will help feed that filter. And you can see I've kind of got it at an angle here. Nothing's really going to hold it in place except that clamp. I don't think it needs anything, but you can see down there that open element is still going to be open to a lot and probably sucking hot air just like they all do. But anyway, I'm going to make sure that's not rubbing anything important. I think that'll be the end of this part of this. I hope this fits with my hood. Right now, I can't say. Okay, now under here on this shifter linkage, now, I will probably weld that versus zip tie it, but that's my factory linkage. I even made a couple of loops to weld on in case it needs a slide up and down action. I zip tied it up for proof of concept. I bent it up, crossed under that heat shield, down to the original linkage, and welded that together. Now, when I pull down on that shifter to come out of park, it'll pull this rod towards the front of the truck, which will move this rod in this fashion, which you can't see, and move the shifter out of park. Now, I can't see because I'm here by myself. So we're going to watch together. I'm going to try to set the phone up on something here. And yeah, we're going to watch together and see if that actually moves that shifter like I want it to. So will my phone sit there in that helmet? And does that show everything? It does. Let's try to get a little closer. All right, I'm going to go and shift out of park and see what happens. Oh, that key was off. Okay, that's reverse. That should be dropped. Possibly even hitting low. That should be park again. Reverse, neutral, drive, or overdrive, whatever it was, and back to park. All right. Oh, I can't wait to see if that worked. If you got to see it there. So, all right, I guess we'll see. I'm gonna pause this so I can stop and look and see what happens, see if that'll work. Stop looking at that exhaust pipe. I got this O2 in, and I'm getting ready to wire up that next. Oops, sorry. I made that come up, over, and down to clear the exhauster. I don't know if I said that when I was under there. I meant to. All right, so I wanted to scratch that shifter off the list. And you know the rules, you can't scratch it off the list if it isn't all the way done. So I think, yeah, I've got it welded plenty good. I got the pin in the back here. I got my height. You can see there how I'm going to be able to clear my exhaust underneath that and go over the cross member like I did over there. See how that one almost lines up? Yeah, when my stuff gets here tomorrow, we'll go into that. So I took those two loops and I welded them to the factory linkage. Yes, I took it off of there so I didn't fuck up my box up there. Yeah, that's good as gold. I test shifted it, still shifts just the same, maybe even a little better because this made the alignment just a little bit better. So yeah, all worked and I'm happy I didn't have to spend any money there. Okay, now I'm ready to hook up my drive-by-wire. I maybe got something else done. We'll go over the list here in a minute. This plug is too big to fit through any hole over there on the driver's side. Now, I went through and wrote down the wire order and colors for the inside plug, which is white, blue, and then purple, green, tan, black on the other side. So I'm going to show you how to take this clip apart. You got to pop that little thing off the top first. And this is my lazy man's way of doing this because I would rather take out these wires and put them back in. Now that I know how to do that stuff, get the gray thing out of there. Yeah, it's going to be easier than cutting a hole in my firewall. All right, so I got those ready to go. Go with the wrong pick. All right, now this tiny little flat screwdriver is my favorite. On this side, the bottom half, you're going to go in that slot. On the top half, if that slot were there, it would just be lifting up this little tab here, just like all wires, and then you pull it out. All right, I already know it's white, blue, and then purple, green, tan, black. So I'm going to pull these out. I'm going to shove them through the firewall as individual wires. See how that pulls up? All right, so I tried to spare you most of the old man noises of me under the dash. Now there's my pedal. Up a little high or not, it suits my foot and my big toe. And if I want it different, I can always lower that. I modified the pedal. I can change it. Now here, when you get it back under, don't forget to put your little gray piece in there so your wires don't push back out when you plug it in. All right, that went back together just fine. Now you can see I used a stock bolt in the stock location and crammed this throttle pedal in. There's a bracket right above it that it's resting against, and I just have a great big zip tie on that. That holds this pedal in rock solid, and you can't move it. It's great. I love it. Woom, woom, woom. All right. Damn light. Sorry, my light's going dead. So, woom, woom, if you missed it. I got my woom, woom pedal in. The go pedal's in. Use the factory hole. There's the wires coming out of the factory hole. Now, I can slide this little gaskety thing and silicone it to the firewall and help keep the, the wind and stuff out. All right, as we continue to get closer, I want to clarify some things. Now, I had 5 wires hanging out over here for this O2, and if you remember, or if I remembered to tell you about it, had 2 pinks. One went to the downstream, one upstream. The pinks are 12 volt power always, as I understand it. So I chose one of them and then just taped off the end of the other one. That way I don't have to trace them back and see which one I used. I left both of them hooked up for power, and Viola, we've got it hooked up and wired in, and it had enough wire, it just can hang out right there. You'll see some shit hanging loose here and there. That's stuff I didn't know what it did, and I wanted to find out. So yeah, any loose wires, especially on the computer with tape, which I got the computer mounted over there. Okay, so onward with some wiring. I found the wire that went down here in this harness right here, this little wire wrap thing that went down to the starter. Okay, there's a big purple wire. That's that one. I want to run it up there and make it look official. I have cheated and checked, and I have crank with my battery hooked up. My 2 orange wires go to 12 volt hot constant. I think all the pink wires go to 12 volt, but I'm not 100% sure if it's all of them or just the bigger ones, or yeah, I'm waiting for clarification on that, so hold tight. I haven't figured out how to get power into the cab yet, but I probably cut something I wasn't supposed to. All right, viewers, now as we grow closer, let me tell you some things I screwed up and some things I'm not sure of and how I'm getting it solved. Okay, this red wire here went to the alternator before. There's already a big thick wire going to the alternator. This came off the alternator and went to this box. Yeah, right there. And also the big black with red stripe went straight to the battery. Remember, I saved that from earlier, so I've saved that and this, but they both seem to power the same block. Does one power the alternator? I'll figure that out. My O2 sensor over here. Remember I said there was two pink wires? Well, they're both 12 volt power. I'll show you how I'm finding which one goes to which one. Up here, these two red wires I eliminated that went in that hole in the dash and went to these plugs in here. Remember that I said I don't think I need, but I might need? Well, the big thick red one controls on my headlights, dashboard, stuff like that. The smaller red one controlled my HVAC system and probably other things. Now, the pinks, the oranges, and the purple wire. The purple wire came all the way up here to this box, and I could have run it over here like everything else, but I took it. This is the purple wire from the Chevy truck, from my Chevy truck, not the donor truck. I just cut here where it follows the harness up and tapped in, and I'm going to run it through the little bit of the loom there. You have a bunch of pinks. Okay, I stripped these and I'm going to hook them up. This is my old coil wire, the red one. I attached this blue piece. I twisted all these together because I thought I was going to be able to test my injectors. I chose them based off the fatness of the wire. Now, all of the injectors are fat wires, but all the fat wires are not injectors. So you still got to go through. Here's what I'm doing now since I didn't trace each individual one up here. I plugged a 12 volt wire into my 12 volt. I got that little end right here. I know this is the slow way maybe. I plugged it into my plug, my test light into my plug. And then I found, where'd it go? I marked them. Oh yeah, these two over here went to my right coil and my left coil. So I ran 12 volts to them off my little wire, plugged my test light in, found out which one is each coil. I'm going through now and doing the same thing for my injectors. Now I'll know which one's injector 1, 3, 5, 7, and 2, 4, 6, 8 on the other side. And I'm just plugging my test light in, tapping the hot wire here to these individuals up here till my light goes off. That's telling me which ones go to which injector. Okay, you have two more pinks that come out of the blue connector. They are pins 75 and 19, I think. Yeah, 75 and 19 out of your blue plug are two pink wires. They also go to hot, so I've marked them. Pin 19, pin 75, so I'll know which ones those are. I have discovered what some of my other ones I taped up are, and I'm going to be eliminating them. Now, I got two pinks that go to my computers, 19 and 75. I got two pinks that go to my coils. I got 8 that go to my injectors. That's 12. There are 2 more pinks that are the heater wires for the O2s, and I'll have to do that the same way. I'll just unplug the O2. I'll stick the light in the pink thing, in the pink wire on the, and test them up here. Now, I got to flash the VAT system out of the computer. So I got a buddy that's going to do that for me, and I'll get that back soon. In the meantime, I'll have all my wires sorted, hooked up, and ready to go. Then we're going to do the fuel system and the exhaust, and I think I'll have just about everything hooked back up. Like I say, I'm learning. If you already know how, you ain't watching this video anyway, and if you don't want to learn, you just want somebody else to tell you, that's one way to do it. But when something goes wrong, if something goes wrong with my hacked up harness, I'm going to know what's what and where to go, which is kind of important to me. So, Hang on while I get underneath here and show you the new exhaust. Okay, you see the two dumps. They both kind of point to the outside-ish a little bit. I welded the two mufflers together. I have one new muffler, one old muffler. Yeah, you can criticize my flux core muffler welding if you want, but I don't care. This is a MagnaFlow Rumbler muffler sold at AutoZone for 49 bucks, made by MagnaFlow. It's a copy of the Flowmaster 40. This is a real Flowmaster 40. Old. New tips. New. Away from the exhaust. Yes, it's laying on the cross member currently, but they won't be when I put the hanger on. This is all the old exhaust with a piece of new. I took 3-inch exhaust and cut it and formed it to fit my 2.5-inch down tubes. I welded the ground strap to the welder on because it kept coming off the handle and I got tired of fussing with it. So I got to cut that off and fix it. This one also ugly, uglier than it was. Oh, okay, I'll stop showing that. But it's solid welded on. And I have complete exhaust. I come down this side. I used a S-shaped tube that I had from this old exhaust system. I welded some new pieces of pipe down. And I've got 2 mufflers, 2 exits, 2 pipes, and they used to Y-pipe them. I don't see why one being longer is going to cause a problem. If it makes the whole truck run shitty, then I'll modify it. But that's where I'm at with exhaust. There's my shifter. I fixed that O2 wire. They're all up under the doghouse. I can let this down. Oh no, fuel pump. I got to wire up the fuel pump. So that's next. Hang on. All right, now here we are with the fuel system, and I'll show you this again when it's under the vehicle. You got to drill a hole and ground it to the frame. I'm not sure why, but you do. So there's my input, there's the return on the bottom. Here's where it feeds the engine. Now, what I've done is take the old evap line off the LS motor and I cut the end off. This one that goes up to the engine has the end that fits the LS fuel rail. It comes down over the transmission and it's actually going to meet right up with that one. And then that'll go over to the frame, right in the spot the old one went. LSX Innovations, after 7 days, finally responded to my email and said, we'll ship your part today. And then they saw my email that said cancel the order, and they were kind enough to cancel the order and refund it. I don't know why it took them 7 days to respond. I like their motor mounts real well. That's why I thought I'd give them a chance, US company and all that. Well, I ended up getting a Chinesium one overnight, basically. So there you go. And okay, this will make more sense now. There's the factory fuel line I have hooked up to the factory fuel rail. It's in its own little holder up there, and it comes down here to a sketchy piece of hose right above the exhaust. Well, we don't need to talk about that. I'll modify that and get a larger piece of hose and better clamps and be able to use my flares. I had to cut my flares off because all I have is tiny hose. I forced tiny hose on. When you force tiny hose on, it kind of acts like a Chinese finger trap with the braids. And when you try to pull it off, it won't come off. But sure enough, now it'll blow off of there. This is my feed line going into the correct spot. Yeah, no flares like I thought I could. Let's see how many gas lines blow off when I first try it, and if none of them do, nifty. Now, that piece is push fit into that filter. That's my one with the loop is the return. Going right back to the return and back. All I got to do now is drill a hole and bolt that up. Make sure I got a good ground. All right, viewers, last segment here. Truck's not going to run today. I'll tell you why. I had the wrong fuel pump. I can't get enough fuel pressure. I'll tell you else why. I don't have my computer yet. I'll tell you else why. I don't have my wiring harness yet. And I found out my fuel pump was only 40 PSI and I need 53 minimum. Wire OBD2 port. When I ordered my fuse block, it comes with a new OBD2 port and a fuel pump relay that's going to be easier to wire than the factory one. Wire truck to run. I had the truck wired up to run, but I unwired it so I could do my fuse box. Cost of the cheap LS swap. All right, so I was at like $850 and then I added like $100 for the computer. I took the $200 for the battery out because it's not really necessary. And then I bought a fuse block for $86 and a fuel pump that is the correct PSI and fits in the tank for like $140. So I'm at $1,200 plus the battery. If you include the battery, because I did have to buy one for this swap, $1,400, $1,200 without. I'm getting my computer done cheap. You see, I had $300. I scratched it out. My buddy can do it, and when I realized I had to wait for other things, it all made good sense to wait versus pay extra. Now let's go over to the truck. Because I had to pay extra, I have a surprise coming. I bet you can't imagine what it is, what it could possibly be about, but I have a surprise coming. Okay, so over here, that was the stock fuel pump relay. I'm not using it. That orange one here somewhere powered it. Powered the, yeah, that one down there powered the old relay up. The wire for it is over there. You can see I got some loom and some stuff. This goes up to the hood light. All right, that one. I got my power supply off my alternator. I got my purple wire in. I got everything over here plumbed and kind of tucked out of the way. Sure, it doesn't look beautiful, but it looks better. I tucked up some of this back here. Got my trailer brake all wired back up. This wire here is where I'm going to get my power for my fuse block. I hope to mount here with a weatherproof cover. Computer here. I have all this figured out. I just waiting on my fuse box. It's going to make sense. That's why I'm stopping this video. Not going to make you suffer another minute. I have gotten so many shitty comments lately about, so many constructive comments on how awful my show is. I want to make it a better show so you'll enjoy it more. So I'm showing you this. I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to get my computer, my fuse box, my correct fuel pump. And if you remember, we did a video about putting in a fuel pump. I'm glad I have that access panel. I'm going to put the correct pressure fuel pump in, and it's going to work. For my dash, I could use my factory gauges off the sending units up there, but I think I'm going to get a OBD2 powered Bluetooth type satellite speedometer, but get everything else to read off of it and put me a little LED screen up there. They're not that expensive. and I'm willing to spend another couple of hundos on this after it's done, because it's a daily driver, tow rig, work rig. Yeah. So, thanks for joining me. Sorry you put up with all this BS on an 8, 9, 10 part LS swap. Man, we are so close to ready to go. My computer will be here. My fuse box will be here. On the next video, you'll see all that. I think I showed you a lot of stuff I had hooked up. I'm pretty excited and very happy about how my swap is going. I'm not upset about it. You might be, all 80 or so of you who watched the video. Man, I appreciate y'all for suffering through this. I hope you learned something like I did. When I get done, I'm going to do a nice video, bumper to bumper, of everything I did. The shift linkage, how I changed transmission, hooked up the everything and all that, and then some. Okay, maybe you'll want to come see that. Yeah. Got to revamp the old program. You might not see a video for a day or two, but it's going to be me and Oswald and Slim still. We're going to be doing things. We're going to try to make the show something people actually enjoy watching. I'm going to get to work on the Valiant once the Chevy's done. Man, I love the Chevy. I can't wait to see the improvements, the upgrades. When I got that hood scoop on too. And I tell you, I think it suits the truck. You'll just have to wait and see. So thanks for joining me and Oswald out here in the garage today. Man, we appreciate you. We love you. We really do. And I hope my show just continues to grow. Tell me what you think in the comments if you care to. But I appreciate you and have a super great day.